Hello friends, welcome to our division class. This is part 2. In part 1, we've talked about the relationship between multiplication and division. Alright? And in this edition, we're going to continue from there. So welcome to class. So part 2, relationship between multiplication and division. Today we'll focus on finding the remainder. Finding the remainder. All right, we know in some cases we don't have exact division. All right, you don't have the exact answer when you divide. There will be some pieces left. So now we want to learn how to find the remainder. Okay, we take them in steps. The first step is for us to check the closest multiple of the divisor to the dividend. That's the first thing we have to do. Check the closest multiple of the divisor to the dividend. Alright, we remember the divisor is the number we're using to divide, and dividends is the number we are dividing. Alright, so let's take an example. Let's say 17 divided by 3. 17 divided by 3. So we are to check the closest multiple of 3 to 17. Check the closest multiple of 3 to 17. So let's look at the multiples of 3. We know that 3 times 1 is 3, 3 times 2 is 6, 3 times 3 is 9, 3 times 4 is 12, 3 times 5 is 16, 3 times 6 is 18, 3 times 7 is 21, and so on. Alright? The closest to 17 in the multiple is 15. 15 is the closest. So 18 is more than 17, so we'll go back to 15. So 15 is the closest to 17. Alright, when we say closest, we're talking about the number that is less or equal, alright? Not closest from the top, alright? So the one that is less or equal to the number we're considering. Alright, so 15 is the closest to 17. So that means that 17 divided by 3 equals 5. Because 3 times 5 equals 15. So that means 17 divided by 3 is equals to 5. But there will be a remainder because 3 times 5 is 15. So definitely there will be a remainder. So how do we know the remainder? That leads us to step 2. Alright, step 2. Step 2. Subtract the closest multiple from the dividend. Subtract the closest multiple from the dividend. Alright, we know the dividend is 17 and the closest multiple we got is 15. So 17 minus 15 is 2. 17 minus 15 is 2. So the remainder is 2. The remainder is 2. Alright, back to the main question. 17 divided by 3 in step 1, we discover that the answer is 5. Now we know the remainder. So 17 divided by 3 is 5 remainder 2. 5 remainder 2. That means there are 5 3's in 17. Alright, and after taking the 5 3's, you have 2 remaining. Right, we can check our answer, check to see if we are correct. Since the answer is 5 remainder 2, we multiply 5 by 3, which is the divisor. So we do 3 times 5 and we add the remainder. So we do 3 times 5 plus 2. So 3 times 5 is 15 and 15 plus 2 is 17. Now we have our dividend. So checked, we have the correct answer. So 17 divided by 3 is 5 remainder 2. Alright, let's take one more example. Example 2. 43 divided by 6. 43 divided by 6. So the first thing we do is to check the closest multiple of 6 to 43. Check the closest multiple of 6 to 43. Alright, we know that 6 times 1 is 6, 6 times 2, 12, 6 times 3, 18, 6 times 4, 24, 6 times 5, 30, 6 times 6, 36, 6 times 7, 42, 6 times 8, 48, 6 times 9, 54, and so on. So, the closest to 43 among the multiples is 42. So, 42 is the closest multiple of 6 to 43. Alright, 48 will be bigger than 43. Alright, so the closest is 42. Alright, so we know now that 6 times 7 is 42. So 43 divided by 6 will be equals to 7 with a remainder. Alright, so 7 remainder what? Right, we move to step 2. In step 2, we'll find out the remainder. And how do we do that? We subtract the multiple, the closest multiple we found out, we subtract it from the dividend, and that will give us the remainder. So we subtract 42 from 43. So 43 minus 42 equals 1. 43 minus 42 equals 1. So our remainder is 1. Back to the question. The question is 43 divided by 6. So the answer is 7 remainder 1. 43 divided by 6. The answer is 7 remainder 1. We can check to see if we're correct. So we do 7 times the divisor, which is 6. So 6 times 7 is 42. Then 42 plus the remainder, which is 1. 42 plus 1 equals 43, and that gives us our dividend. Alright, checked. We're correct. Alright, please go over the examples again and practice and keep practicing. Alright? Okay? And when you've fully understood the concept, try these exercises. Right? Okay? Try it and pause the video and check for the answer later. Alright? Thank you. We've come to the end of the lesson. These are the answers to the questions. Hope you did well. Alright? Just keep practicing. Thank you. Bye.